Well, we're back here for Coffee Club this week. Myself, Robert Grieve, Bill Leckie. We're back at Bella Vita, our new favourite restaurant, because of the cakes and the hospitality we get here. A busy week ahead. First of all, though, we want to just touch on the sad news that Rodger Baillie, one of the greats of our business, a great friend of ours, passed away sadly this week. And Bill, we're thinking about Rodger's family and everyone who knew him because he was such a great man.
Absolutely, we go back. I go back all my career, being in and around Rodger, and before I was in journalism, he'd already established himself in a career. He's, a man who was in Lisbon with Celtic in '67. He got back that far and forgot more about our game than most of us ever knew.
Yep, a real sad time, and as I say, our thoughts are with Rodger's family especially. He'll be sorely missed. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So there you go. We're here, Bill, just to talk about the week that we've got with Scottish football. I was talking to Steve Clarke yesterday.
Yeah,
we finally found out where Steve Clarke was, where he's been hiding for the last, I think it was 65 days between yesterday and the 1-0 defeat to Hungary and Stuttgart. We were there. We don't really want to go back there. But what did you make of what he had to say about the debacle of that tournament? Did he say all the things that you hoped he would say?
No, not at all. I was disappointed in the whole. I've not had any sleepless nights. I wouldn't have been in this game as long if I had let these things get to me, and it was all that. The explanation of why he hasn't spoken for the last 65 days, I thought, was very inadequate. And I feel the fact that he's been allowed to take charge and manage this, rather than the SFA saying, "Listen, we need to do something here. We need to get people. Apart from anything else, you need to get people back on board.
Yeah,
you need to get fans back on board. You need to get the mood back up." And I don't feel anything he did yesterday made me feel right. New chapter, blank page. Let's go again.
Yeah. I'm led to believe right enough that the people behind the scenes at the SFA were maybe trying to point him in that direction, that he maybe should say something sooner, but he didn't want to go down that road. And as he said yesterday, he didn't feel the need to do it and then do it again.
But see, in our job, your boss doesn't point you in the direction of doing things and let you make your own mind up. Yeah. There has to come a point where somebody says, "No, Steve, this is how you have to do this."
Yeah, he's his own man.
Of course, he's his own man. And by the way, one of his great strengths is the fact that he's his own man. He does shut out a lot of outside noise. But I just thought yesterday was defensive in an unnecessary way.
Did the fans today? I mean, I put it to him that the fans had been asking, "Where has he been?" He's like, "Oh, I'm here." He made a little joke about it.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
But did the fans expect or deserve better from him to come out sooner and then just to? That's it. He didn't really say very much even when he did come out yesterday. And I don't know if that's time. He didn't say there was a big issue. He didn't say that he spoke to you about little things he maybe could have done differently. But
I just think there's been a vacuum created, and it's a very Scottish Football Association kind of thing. Is that we went into the Euros on such a high, we came out of it in such a low, but we've done nothing since to redress that low. Yeah. And it's always been, well, let's just wait. I know we've got a game in September, so the week before that we'll start talking about football again. And I'm not sure that's done anybody any. There'll be a lot of people who have now just gone, "Was that right? What we're playing in now? Or the nations?" Okay, aye. And I don't feel as if, I think we've lost that great charge of enthusiasm there was before the Euros.
And we spoke about it, the reason we're sitting here, because we did these chats every morning when we were in Germany. And we spoke continuously about how the reason we were so disappointed is because we believe in these players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in fact, we still believe in the manager.
Yeah,
that's been the biggest disappointment, that we actually think he's a good manager and he's got good players.
Yeah.
So it's not the criticism, sorry Bill, the criticism that it's maybe been churning out and that he's maybe got into his head that we've been overly critical, which I think is a nonsense, by the way.
Nonsense.
If that's the case, then it's only because we think they're better than they showed.
A couple of weeks after the Euros, when he had gone in, I'm not going to say gone into hiding, but when he had just backed off from talking to Henry.
I think he did go into hiding.
Yeah, I wrote a column basically summing up my feelings, which was that I love the guy as a person, always have as a player. I think he's the right guy for us as a manager, but he makes it very difficult sometimes to support him.
Yeah.
You know, people come and say, why do you still back him? And it becomes harder every time he does something like this.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll back him.
But he doesn't care about that.
No, he
That's
doesn't.
the great thing.
No,
he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But results, he's in a results-driven business. He knows that better than we do. And the 2 games we've got coming up, Poland at Hampden, and then we go to Lisbon. I'm going to Lisbon for the Portugal game. These are huge games for them. They're not going to be easy. They're going to be tough games. If we struggle against Hungary in Switzerland, then these are tough games we've got.
Well, that's the thing. We've worked so hard to get into the top division of this Nations League. And in the same way as we worked so hard to get into the Euros. And what you don't want to do is get to that top division and be found wanting.
Yeah.
Now, there's elements of that. It's early season, you know, blah, blah, blah. So there's always uncontrollable elements within that. But you want to go there and say, and you don't want to immediately say, well, we didn't deserve to be in the top division. We want to go there and prove ourselves. And that's why I think there had to be some element over the summer of keeping the pot boiling with Scotland and keeping people feeling good about the team.
Yeah. I agree 100%. What did you make of the squad? There was a couple of changes. I did a story, you make this every week, but I did the story the other week about Ryan Cole getting into the team or into the squad. He's there. He's a player that a lot of Scotland fans have been crying out for a number of years now. He's 28, almost 29. He was in one squad 10 years ago. Didn't go on the pitch. He's now playing in MLS with Vancouver Whitecaps, and by all accounts, earning rave reviews, as well as a lot of money as a designated player. But what did you make? Is it time for Ryan Gold? What did you make of him coming into the squad?
I like it. I like the fact he's in the squad. I'm slightly baffled by the fact that Steve could have picked him at any time over the last, 4 years or whatever. He could have picked him at any point. Any Scotland manager could have picked him, and they haven't. So I don't know what it is about him now, apart from the fact that we're down on some players. But I don't know who he takes the place of, because it's not as if
he's not Callum McGregor.
He's not Callum McGregor.
No.
And I'm really excited to see what happens with him. What I hope doesn't happen is what happened to the likes of James Forrest at the Euros, where you come in and you go, oh, it's great to see this guy in the squad, and then he doesn't kick a ball.
Yeah.
So I think if he's here and he's coming from, I think this weekend, where is he?
Texas. Yeah.
So he's got to come in and make a contribution. Or the boy himself is going to think, what was the point?
Yeah.
He's not a kid anymore. He's not a super kid. He's all the man he's going to be. And I think it'd be great to see him making an impact in a Scotland jersey.
One of the things Steve Clarke did talk about, though, in fairness to him, was we didn't have any creativity in Germany. That was the one thing it was crying out, that we didn't have a player that could put their foot in the ball, can see a pass, they can maybe.
But we had Billy Gilman. They didn't play him in the first game.
In the attacking end of things, Billy Gilman's nobody loves Billy Gilman more than me, but I'm talking about creative in the sense of setting up a goal, scoring a goal. Maybe he does have that.
He maybe does. I mean, for instance, we've got Ryan Christie's done that for us in the past. The Ryan sort of, I'm not going to say he was scapegoated, but in that first game against Germany, he was played in this role where he was kind of trying to get between midfield and Che Adams, and ended up just running doggies the whole time. And that's not his game. And I felt a bit sorry for him. I actually wonder now with the role he plays at Bournemouth whether he might sit a bit deeper. Yeah. In the kind of Callum McGregor, because that's where he now plays for his club, and he seems quite comfortable there. But you're right, there was a.
Always playing further forward. Vancouver.
Yeah,
he's played further forward. He's more of an attacking player now. So I do wonder where he's going to fit in. But it's what the team lacks, and
there's no doubt. There's no doubt that little bit of change of pace to take us into the final third of the park.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But the squad was interesting.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper wise, players missing. I thought Conor Barron was a shoe-in. I think he's been excellent for Rangers in a difficult couple of months for Rangers. He's been the one player I think I've been really impressed by. Goalkeeper wise as well, John McLaughlin. I thought Dundee,
McCracken's been very good.
McCracken's been very good, and I wondered the ones that he's brought in are guys that are maybe carrying little knocks. Xander Clark, Robbie McCrory. I wondered if McCracken might give him a shout, and I think he's maybe somebody that could be disappointed with. But Barron especially, for me,
I'm not quite as sure.
No?
It's not that I don't think he's a good player. I think he is a good player, but it would be very typical again of Scotland all down the years is that he doesn't get into the squad when he plays for a non-Old Firm team, and he goes to the Old Firm game, or goes to the Old Firm, plays 4 or 5 games, and suddenly he's a Scotland player, which would be something that really annoys Aberdeen fans. Are annoyed enough that he's going to Rangers. without then seeing him in the Scotland squad. I'm not saying he's not good enough to play for Scotland, but again, like Gold, why was he not good enough when he's playing for Aberdeen?
Well, I believe he was very close to the squad in Germany, I must admit. I was led to believe that he was one that was on the cusp of getting into the squad, and he was maybe somebody that just missed out at the last minute for Ryan Jack, for instance, who came in and didn't kick a ball. Anyway, listen, we'll see what happens with Scotland in the next couple of weeks. We're looking forward to those games, and hopefully the team, Steve Clarke, can get back on track, and we're talking about positive things again, rather than huge disappointment. Domestically, Bill, this week there's a lot going on. Transfer window closes 11 o'clock on Friday night, and as always with these things, does you get messages, big stories?
No, it's just people saying how much they enjoy seeing you on this podcast.
It'll be our first. You get a big breaking story, but
bring back Boydie.
But we're as usual with these things. Whenever these things, it'll go to the wire. They don't seem to do things. They see a window from the window's open for a long time.
The window baffles me.
They could open it for a couple of
hours.
Yeah,
absolutely. Friday. It absolutely baffles me that everything always goes down to the last. And especially if you look this week with an Old Firm game at the weekend, and you look at the way Celtic are handling things. The one club in the country with money coming out of every drawer and every cupboard, and it's running down. And Celtic fans are saying, "What team is going to put out Ace Rangers on Sunday?" Yeah. You know, they're still trying to maybe get guys in. Maybe they've got rid of one of the. I say got rid of. They've sold one of their best players, and I don't think their fans. I think their fans have got every right to say, "Where are the replacements?"
Yeah, well, we've been saying this for a number of weeks now. I do actually genuinely think Celtic are trying to get business done. I don't think
I'm sure they are.
About that. I think they've got money to spend. Clearly, they've got money to spend, but they do want to spend it, and it's not being proven as easy as that. You know, Peter Lawwell's going to Spun Stadium and Spencer Stadium on Sunday, getting dogs abuse from some fans, which I think is just nonsense. Shouldn't be happening. A man walking into a football ground, but at the same time, you can understand why Celtic fans are frustrated that they've got all this money, they can't spend it. But as I say, I think it's very, very difficult. And as the closer we get to the window, clubs like Augsburg in Germany, that Celtic are want to sign Arne Engels, the young kid with real potential. They're saying, no, you value him at 11 million, 12 million euros. If you want him, that's what you need to pay. And by the way, Celtic are probably going to need to pay it.
Absolutely. If they want the guy, if they think he's worth that much. For instance, we talked about it last week. I don't think Adam Reid is a £9 million striker, but that's what it came down. If they wanted to get him, that's what Norwich held out for. And if it comes down to Engels is going to be into 10, 11, whatever it is, £1 million, then if they want the guy enough, that's what they're going to have to pay.
This is where, if you're Brendan Rodgers, if you're arguing that you want to sign, and especially a player at 20, that you're arguing that this is a guy I want, this is a kid I want, he will genuinely believe he can develop that player and turn him into a £30 million player.
In a Matt O'Reilly.
In a Matt O'Reilly style.
Yeah.
And given time, given the age of the boys, that you would fancy him to actually, at very least, put value on him, whether it's turns him into a £30 million player. This is a kid with big potential by all accounts.
Yeah.
I think he was at Bruges when Philippe Clement was there. He raved about him. So you'd imagine if Brendan Rodgers is willing to almost stake his reputation on, this is the one I want, then I'll make him better.
Yeah.
And get him.
Get
it done.
If you look at another club who have the same business model as Celtic, you look at Brighton, right? Brighton are constantly bringing guys in and moving them on for massive profits. But what they're doing is identifying the targets well in advance, getting their business done, and then when Robert Grieve moves out the door for 80 million quid, they've already got the guy lined up at 12 million to come in. Yeah. And that's the bit that Celtic aren't doing.
Yeah.
They sell everybody knows they're going to sell Matt O'Reilly, and they make it dead obvious we need replacements. And you're right, that's when the money goes up. They need to get their business done far more in advance and have a far better throughput of players who are on the way in as well as players on the way out.
Yeah. What is it to say about repeating things over and again and expecting a different result?
The definition of insanity.
That's what it is for Celtic. Every single transfer window. And Brendan Rodgers, I think, has been really cute in the last few weeks. He's spoken very pointedly about what's going on, but without a kind of confrontational tone in his voice.
Yeah, because the first time round,
he's done it very cutely, I think.
First time round, he made his frustration about signings pretty much a deal breaker, didn't it? But that's what really broke his stay at Celtic the last time. Yeah, terminado. And this time he's been a little bit more sus about it. But you can tell that he's serious. that he's saying,
it's the same message.
I need this done. Yeah. You need to do this, because this on Sunday is a huge game for both clubs, and points, yes, bragging rights, yes, but also, Celtic, if they want to make a statement here, need to come into that game with clear heads, and I don't think their heads are clear at the moment.
Yeah, no, time will tell on that one. Is it, look at from a Rangers point of view, the Old Firm game Sunday afternoon, Celtic Park, no away fans there. For Rangers, we'll see what they do business-wise as well in the next couple of days. Obviously getting players out at the minute. Scott Wright on his way to Birmingham. Ben Davis already there. They're trying to move things, to shake things, to get some funds here to do some stuff. Regardless of what they do, how big a game is this for Philip Clement? Because it's been a really difficult first few months of the season for them.
It's hard to put an adjective on how big this is. If you look at the way the Old Firm fixtures work, the last couple of times they've had to go to Parkhead for the first one, they've taken proper hammerings. Yeah. If this was to happen again to him at this time, I think people would be, and it's not going to affect him, as you talked last week. It's not going to affect his job. They're not going to be hunting him out the door, but it's going to be a massive blow to them if they suddenly go, way behind even this early in the Premiership title race. But just the effect on morale of the fans who are already at breaking point over so many other issues. Yeah,
it'll be an interesting one. There's no doubt about that. But Rangers, I think, right now would bite your hand off for a draw.
Absolutely.
I know they maybe say that before, but Celtic just they're playing really well at the minute. Celtic, they just look as though they're in the groove. And as you say, even though they've not a great preparation, what you're talking about in terms of signings coming in, but equally, they're in a good place. Celtic.
They certainly look quicker about the park than they were last season. They look as if they have a more definite way of playing. They're starting to get the best out of the likes of Nicholas Kuhn, who last season looked as if looks as if he'd won a competition to play at times. But this season is looking terrific. Hatati's coming back into things. I think they look as if they're in a good place. I still think up front they're kind of caught between two stools with Kyogo with the injury problems and playing one way with him.
I don't think he does fit. That's the thing. I watched either against St Mirren at the weekend there. He looks, and I like him. I think he's a good player, but he looks short. He looks like a player who's not played much football in the summer.
He's also, for me, he's not a natural finisher. There was 2 or 3 times he was put in behind St Mirren when St Mirren were tiring a little bit, and he didn't get himself in positions to get the shot off. And in a game like an Old Firm game, when the chance comes and under that pressure, you've got to be the guy that. And that's where Celtic have been so good, especially at home over the last few seasons against Rangers, that when the chances have come, they have buried them. Yeah. They've buried the chances.
If you're Philip Clement, how do you go about it? Because we've seen teams. The one thing Celtic clearly have been working on throughout the summer is pressing the life out of opposition. You can see they've been clearly working on it. Probably with a view to Champions League, but domestically teams cannot cope with it.
No.
So Mirren struggled the other week. Yeah. I saw Hibs struggle against it. Teams just can't get their head up. Yeah. If you're Philip Clement, how do you deal with that? How do you try and deal with that? Well, that's going to be a big aspect of the game, I think.
The key, the main way to deal with that, the way that top teams would do it, is to break the press, get behind them, and see how quickly Celtic can get turned and get back. Yeah. I'm not sure Rangers have got the players who can break that line and and do the what's it called now? The transition, and
the what?
The transition, and what we used to call attacking, right?
We've been defending, now it's time to attack.
Now it's time to attack. And I'm just not sure they've got that. I'm not sure anybody in Scotland has the way that when Celtic have their midfield three and their wide men playing as well, and the fullbacks, when they all get, they're flooding over the top of teams. I'm not sure Rangers have the wherewithal to counter press them. Yeah,
it'll be an interesting one. Prediction-wise, what do you think? I find it hard to see anything other than a Celtic win. Yeah. On Sunday, what do you think? Is it straightforward as that, or does this get potential to throw up something a bit different?
I think any Old Firm game has that potential, but on past evidence of the last few games at Celtic Park, I think Celtic could be by a couple of goals.
Yeah, well, time will tell on that one. We'll be covering that game obviously on Sunday. Bill and I both going to the game. Looking forward to it, and we'll see how that turns out tonight. In fact, not tomorrow night. This is Wednesday. Tomorrow night, we get still big European games. We've been talking about it for a long time now.
Yeah.
every week we're talking about Kelly and Hearts last week, and unfortunately, Bill, pretty much the way we predicted it might go last week.
Yeah.
Is pretty much the way it went.
Absolutely, it might just be a bridge to a farm. Now, both teams were still well in their ties. Hearts were 0-0, Kelly were 1 down to the 96th minute. Hearts scored an own goal, and it was an absolute howler of an own goal. And Kelly lose a second to go 2 down now. 2-0 down, going back to Rugby Park against Copenhagen is a big, big ask, especially when you look at Kelly's form at the moment, which isn't great. Hearts going back 1-0 down. You see, I've got a better chance. But what I would say is, neither of them are playing well. Kelly's only win this season was in Tromsø to qualify for these playoffs. They haven't won another game. Hearts haven't won a game at all, and are shipping stupid goals. You know, another 3 at the weekend against Motherwell after losing 3 at Dundee, 2 at Falkirk. The only game they haven't lost was the opening game against Rangers, the 0-0. They're not putting the chance away at one end, they're giving away too many at the other end. So they really have to, Hearts need to take a massive step up in standards if they're going to get through this time.
The thing I think especially with Kilmarnock, probably more so than Hearts, is when teams are playing in European competitions, there's a drop off with them then playing at the weekend.
There's no doubt.
And that's why we're talking about how they're not getting results.
Yeah.
It's because one's because of the other, isn't
absolutely.
it? If they're putting so much into the European games, Kelly have been terrific.
Yeah.
Some terrific performances in Europe. But there's then a drop off at the weekend because Derek McInnes just doesn't have the resources.
It's travel, it's travel, it's tension, it's
so many changes as well, though.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week about St Mirren. St Mirren were on their knees after coming back from Bergen, lost in the League Cup to Dundee United, lost fairly tamely again there to Celtic, and have to now find a way to recharge the batteries. And if Kilmarnock were to go back out, were to go out the tournament tomorrow night, then Derek's got to then find a way to get them back up, because you're suddenly into September and thinking, we're playing, Kelly are down there in the bottom 3. How do we start playing catch up now?
I think Kelly will be absolutely fine.
I hope so.
I think they will absolutely fine. I think, as I say, these European games, these European trips, especially, have taken a toll on those players, and that's why there's not a drop off at the weekend.
Yeah,
and that's why they've not been winning. If and when they go out of Europe, you'll see their Europe, and there'll be there's an international break coming up.
Yeah.
I think you'll see Kelly picking up pretty
I genuinely don't think any of our, if you look at the teams that finish kind of 4th, 5th, 6th, if they're qualifying, if they're looking at that level of the weight of that qualifying kind of campaign, I don't think any of our clubs are equipped to cope with it.
Yeah, but the more the experience they get of it, and by the way, and if Kelly or Hearts are getting guaranteed money anyway, that's going to help them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have the potential to deal
Hearts
with it.
are in that position now where, because they're guaranteed the Conference League, they're going to get the finance in.
But it's still going to be difficult for them.
But it's still going to be very difficult for them.
Thursday,
although
Sundays.
they do have a much bigger squad than Kelly.
We spoke about this last week with Steve Naismith, and we'll talk about this briefly, I think, again, because, as predicted, he's under a little bit of pressure from certain quarters of the Hearts support. I said last week, I think it's unfair of him. I think he's done a good job, and I think he's suffering from these European games because of the nature of them. What do you make of it? Do you fear for Naisy a little bit?
I fear for every manager when results don't go right. I think I would like to think Hearts have learned from past mistakes of just, we'll also look across the city at Hibs, who just empty managers, at the drop of a hat. And Hearts are trying to be more progressive. They've given Naisy and his coaches an extension, which sometimes in football doesn't mean anything. But I do think he has to start producing a recognisable first 11, B, a recognisable way of playing, and every week he's coming out and now. What worries me about managers is when they come out and say the same things every week. We're losing stupid goals. We're making the same mistakes. Now, what's his part in that? He and his coaching staff have to take some responsibility for allowing it to happen every week.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that to a certain extent, but I do think he's one of these managers who's always on the cusp of criticism.
Absolutely.
And I just don't know.
He's a little bit like Steve Clarke. He's quite a deep thinking guy. He's not a publicity seeker. He doesn't. He says what he means, and he doesn't come out and court favour with anybody, which doesn't always, in terms of media or fans, it doesn't always make you Mr. Popular. But that's, again, he's his own man.
Yeah.
He's his own man.
Well, we wish Kelly and Hearts both well tomorrow night. With a bit of luck, they can maybe get through, but I do think it's going to be very difficult for them. And I think that might be the end of the run for both of them. But listen, hopefully we're wrong. We've been wrong before, Bill. You're often wrong.
I'm often wrong. It's one of my charms.
One of your traits. Anyway, I think that's about us this week. We once again, let's just before we go, what have we got?
Well, we have cheesecake with strawberry. We have a lovely, very delicate gingerbread cake. We have Rocky Road, and we have one little heart-shaped Empire biscuit which has my name on it.
I thought you were going to give that to me.
No, you can have the 2 cheesecakes.
Have the 2 cheesecakes. Right, okay, that's us for this week. Stay tuned. We'll be keeping up with the transfer window, all the European games between now and then over the next couple of days. And we'll be back next week for the next Coffee Club.